And what about the wrestling shows? I mean, what kind of people showed up? Like, what's the crowd and what kind of, I mean, was it women, men, or was it a kind of a mix of everything? And was it different? Like, was there like one place that was like, wow, this is like the ultimate place to wrestle, like your biggest shows?
Well, the Olympic Auditorium was the main place. Men and women would show up in suits and ties. That's back in the 60s. They were business people. They'd sit at ringside and they'd take out all their frustration, smoking cigars at ringside. It was like, they gave it the atmosphere you wanted. Then you go to the other smaller towns, it was pretty much the same. Arenas, fairgrounds, but mostly arenas. And same sort of crowd, of course, kids too. And it was just a way of life that was just fun.
But that was real shit back then.
I had to pay my dues. I got hurt plenty. I got stiffed
I mean,
out.
what do you think comparable to modern wrestling? I mean, what would you say the big difference was?
The big difference was you have people who have experience and are older, and they want to stiff you and show you what the world's about. And if you can't take it, you get out of the business. You just don't complain. I mean, I've been beat up and slammed and hit with chairs and thrown over the rope, and I can't.
Real blood.
Real blood. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'd cut my head. I couldn't complain about it because then you're out of it. I drove all the way to Santa Maria with a stomach flu with diarrhea, stopping at truck stops because they didn't want to lose a booking. So
And who was doing who was handling all this? You mentioned all these ventures you're doing, right? So,
booking?
Yeah, who would handle
Mr. Moto, Freddie Blassie, Jules Strongbow, Buddy Killer Austin. They were in the office at the time. Buddy Killer Austin was a big blonde-haired guy, huge, and he would always be drunk when he got in the ring. And I didn't want to wrestle him. That guy scared the shit out of me. So they bring him in to meet me.
How big?
He's about 6'4", about 270, but not in shape. Big belly, skinny arms. He was just a brawler. And I thought, if I work with him, he's going to kill me. So they bring him in to meet me during my training, and they said they want me to do some things. And he locked up with me, and I saw stars. And I said, oh, my God, it's going to kill me. So they gave me the first night on Channel 5 with him, and he came in the ring. And he actually worked with me, and it worked out okay. He was nice. He was okay. He said, you did a good job. Just change this, change this, change this. And you listen, you say, okay, I will. And you're working the next night with somebody else.
So you didn't have any practice then? It was just kind of like you went in there and you did it?
No, there was no practice. Wrestling was back then, you just call it as you see it. It's you know the moves, you know the holds. You can call it when you're coming off the rope. You usually work the audience. If the audience is going a certain way, you want to go the way they feel. And then you can turn it around and switch them, go another way, and then you give them a quick finish that they don't expect.
How did you get the name The Equalizer?
Well, all things being equal. I had several names, the Stomper and Ric Drasin, All-American Boy. And then I watched a show called The Equalizer. I said, that's a good name. I like that. I think I'll put a mask on and do it. So I did, and then I shaved my head, and I was wrestling with my son. And he used to wrestle for a while, and he pulled my mask off, and my head was shaved, and then they saw it was me, and they exposed me. So I just started using the name, and it just caught on. I'm sure there's other equals.
What's your best moniker? What's your best name that you carry, do you think? Which one do you want to be remembered as the most?
I think The Equalizer. Yeah.
That's what you're most famous for.
I think so, yeah. I think that's what people remember them. When I tell them I wrestle, what's your name? Mr. Ric Drasin. No, what's your wrestling? The Equalizer. Oh, I remember you. Well, it's just like, okay. You were a kid then, now I'm like really old. They like that stuff.
I mean, Rick, you're like one of those guys that someone like me, I mean, I would love to sit down and just listen to the stories for hours and hours on end. I'm sure you got like endless stories in every arena, even in film. I mean, you've done some film stuff, and I mean, it's like you've done everything. I mean, really, what do you think like is your legacy impact? What do you think like people are going to remember you for most in the years to come? I mean, what do you really want? What's your message in life that you really lead forward with at this point?
Well, I'm not sure. I'd like to think that the show I did, my legacy with what I've done with wrestling and bodybuilding and acting, of course playing the Demi-Hulk on the Incredible Hulk is an iconic little Comic-Con character that I could go play.
What do you mean you played the dummy Hulk?
I was the middle Hulk between Bixby and Ferrigno. They kept him in transition, and I was the guy kept in transition. So they put the lenses on me, and they put the appliances on my nose and head, and I'd run around, and they could never bring him back down or back up, and it became a cult classic, and there's a lot of followers for that kind of stuff.
I didn't know that.
Oh, see, now you know.
We're learning everything here.
That took off really well, and I did the Shield as a Aryan biker. I did Ben, the movie with the rats. Do you remember the movie The Rats, Ben?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Michael Jackson sound. Yeah. I played a gay gym instructor, got attacked by rats. Okay. But those things all figure in, and then the FBI series, and a lot of commercials, a lot of Coors commercials, and cigarette ads, and the big billboards with the cigarettes like Tom Selleck did. I did. Winston Cigarettes. I was back east for a week doing billboards and point of purchase stuff. So it's all out there. But if people look me up, they'll know everything.
And this is stuff that you casted for, or they actually, someone contacted you really to fill in a lot of this?
I had to go in and read for it and just be there, be cast for it.
More time out of your crazy schedule.
I hate casting sessions. I won't go anymore. They'll call me now, like, 2 years ago. We need you over in Ocean Park. I'm in Sherman Oaks at 5 o'clock on Friday. Do you wear a Speedo and oil up? I said, really? No, I don't think I'm...
Can't pay you enough to do that, huh?
No, oil up and wear a Speedo. No, thank you. You won't want to see me like this. Trust me.
That's funny. So you currently run your Ric's Corner, right? Which is a YouTube channel. Obviously, you guys can subscribe. We'll put it on the bottom of this here. And you feature a lot of personalities on there. And between, fitness, bodybuilding, I saw a lot of different type people on there. I'd love to be on that show at some point. And but you're still doing it currently.
I do 3 a week. And I do my own editing. I put the whole thing together myself. My son does my music. I mean, I'm good at what I do, and I'm creative. So I can put together a whole show within, once I shoot it, which 40 minutes, I edit, and I'm done. But I have a passion for it. I'm really passionate about it. Or I'll do a monologue. I do a lot of monologues. I started talking about bodybuilding, my story, part 1, part 2, part 3, about what I saw in the gyms, what I saw in the arenas, what happened at the gyms. I worked at the gym where there was ladies and men on opposite days, so I swept up to have a membership, and this woman's in the shower. I was in high school with a gorgeous woman. She said, Rick, can you bring me a towel, please? I'm closing the gym. I said, we're closing in 5 minutes. She said, I don't have a towel in the shower. Yeah, I'll bring you a towel. And from that point on, it worked out okay.
Now, how long have you been on YouTube for? When did you start?
9 years ago.
So were you one of the... I think I started my channel in 2009. So it really wasn't popular then.
No, I did it. What I did was I had a ring in my backyard. I trained kids. I trained people for WWE. Rusev, the Russian wrestler, trained with me for like 6-7 years. Big names have come there and trained with me, and my friend Steve Austin comes over. But I had kids, a lot of kids, and so I would give them a mic and say, I want you guys to do promos and learn how to speak in front of a camera. So it's
important in wrestling nowadays.
So you got to know how to talk. So I put a green screen up in my garage, and I put some stuff behind them, and they started getting better and better and better. And someone said, that's really good. Why don't you do interviews and call it Ric's Corner? Because I had Robert Patrick, I had his son, so he came on. Roger Lodge, who does Blind Date, and I've done about 4 blind dates of the contestants coming on and wrestling in my school. And then Luke Perry from 90210, and I said, okay, then we'll turn it into a real show. And then I got asked to do Maria Menounos AfterBuzz TV as a host of SmackDown and WWE on Friday night. So I did that for a year and a half, and then I got asked to go over to Actors Entertainment in Hollywood and interview all these named actors like not Aretha Franklin, but some of these singers and writers and people like that, which was fun. I learned from doing that. And then I went to Hollywood to Empower Me TV, and they gave me my own show, Ric Drasin Live. And then I started a show called Tough and Tender with a girlfriend I had at the time, talking about relationships and how to do in a relationship. We do the he said, she said. It was just a creative side of me. I wanted to get out there and have fun with it. So then those all went, and I thought, it's wearing me out. They wanted my Ric's Corner people, and I said, no, I can't do that. So I just centered in on that, and then I moved my stuff into the house, built a beautiful studio where I could shoot inside the house and do all my own editing, and I'd call people, or they'd call me. Last 2 weeks ago, Andre Rush, he's the chef at the White House. He came on, and he just was a gem. We had a great interview. And I get people like that, and it just builds your name and puts you out there even more and more and more. And then I have products on there that I can sell. I have books that I've written. Old School Labs sponsors me. I have the Gold's Gym logo that people wear that I have around in different areas. And it just goes and goes. And I just keep trying to make it bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, you've written a few books also. Are those available in ebook form, or are they just a hard book?
They're on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. They sell. I don't push them real hard, but they sell. They sell okay. It's just, you got to keep things moving. Every time you go to the mailbox, there's a check from somewhere else or a deposit into your account from something else, and so it works okay.
Well, I'm sure your legacy will continue, and it's awesome that you got to come down here today and share a little bit of this. And actually, I learned a couple of things today, but hopefully we can continue to catch up and appear on your channel for your thing too, and talk a little bit about my career, because obviously we can talk a lot. I have a lot of stories too, probably not as many as you.
How old are you?
45.
Oh, you'll have them when you reach my age. I'm still getting stories at my age. What I run into, I went in the hospital for congestive heart failure, was on Saturday this past week. Stayed Saturday, Sunday, Monday, got home because I had surgery on my leg and my heart was just like going out of, oh my God, I thought I was going to die. So the doctor comes in, she says, you can stay or you can go, but if you go home, you're going to die tonight. I said, I can't, I got to do a show tomorrow. Yeah. So meantime, they take me into X-ray and I meet this nice young lady who's really nice, and we became friends, and we talked, and now I got a date Saturday night. I was on my deathbed, I made a date.
You still have the energy to date even at your age, huh?
I don't really call it dating, but we're going to have dinner somewhere and go from there, you know. I don't like to just call it a date, but if it clicks and it's nice, then sure, why not?
What is you train how many days a week right now?
6.
And what kind of workout routine do you do?
Well, I used to do chest and back on Monday, shoulders and arms on Tuesday, legs on Wednesday. That was my normal routine all the time. Now, as I've gotten older, I've had some injuries. I can't spend the energy on 2 body parts at a time. So I'll pick one for the day. For example, I'll go in and I'll do a chest workout, 200 abs and some crunches, ride the bike for 20 minutes, and that's pretty much it. Next day will be back like that. Next day will be shoulders like that.
How many sets, though, and reps are you doing on this?
I'll do 16 to 20 sets.
It's a lot.
That's too much.
That's what I do.
Yeah, well, I want to be you.
It's impressive, but, and obviously you still follow some sort of diet regimen?
I'm very clean on my diet, and my kids yell at me, why don't you just enjoy yourself? I don't know. I'm enjoying myself. I have my eggs. I eat whole eggs. And
What's the most important meal of the day, in your opinion?
breakfast.
I always said that.
Yeah, it starts your day off. I mean, I got to have my eggs and my oatmeal. I have a little bit of matzo that I like with peanut butter and apple juice with apple cider vinegar and my vitamins. I'm pretty much good to go then. And from that point on, it's throughout the day. You know, you have a protein snack, you have a lunch with tuna or chicken and whatever, and just go through the day.
I think you eat 4 meals?
Yeah, I try to get 4 meals. I don't eat a lot of calories. I don't think I get more than 2,000 a day. But I don't care about being 260 pounds at my age. I just want to be in shape and lean and healthy and be handsome and sexy.
What was your biggest?
239 was my heaviest. I had done 4 reps with the 150-pound dumbbells on inclines, and then I had a bench of 455. So I already did that. I don't have to do it again, thank God.
Did you ever have the thought of becoming a professional bodybuilder?
No.
Why?
Did not appeal to me because of the politics. I see what guys go through. I see the jealousies and the hate and all the stuff that I don't want to be a part of. I'd rather just do my wrestling and train hard. I don't want to be judged by somebody who doesn't even know what bodybuilding is. You know, they sit out there, oh, his calves aren't big enough or his past. You know what? As long as I look good, I'm happy.
Did you attend the early Mr. Olympia days?
No. I don't go to contests.
Have you been to a Mr. Olympia contest before?
Nope.
So you never seen me compete in any shows?
I've seen many pictures of you.
Never the same in pictures, though, Rick.
I'm sorry, Jay. I don't like crowds. I'm so used to crowds from wrestling. If I go to a movie, it's about the only crowd I go to.
I'm the same way.
I don't mean anything by that. I just got set in my ways, and I hate going to a parking lot and getting out and trying to get in somewhere and get out and sit with a ton of people. I mean, I've done a lot of documentaries that have had previews, so I go, but I don't know. It's just I got to a point where I don't want to go out much anymore. They can bring it to me.
But if you go out to eat, what's your favorite kind of food to go out and eat? Regular, it's probably clean diet, right?
I like Thai.
Okay. Thai eater.
A little chicken, some noodles. I like steak and a baked potato. I like good salmon. Chinese food once in a while, but not a lot. Last night I had sushi, which is good. The low sodium soy sauce, but a little variety.
Today's diet's changed a lot from the past with a lot of the athletes, and I think, we've seen a lot of progression. I mention all the time, like, people say, well, how do the guys get so much bigger? And obviously there's a lot of factors, but the equipment has changed a lot also in the gyms. You've seen every equipment come out, and, I mean, you were there before Hammer Strength or before all these big brands. I mean, you were there with the original Nautilus was there. I mean, what kind of equipment was inside the gym when you were training at that time? Was it mostly free weights?
Basically dumbbells and barbells. And then you had the pullover machine that was a Nautilus, cable crossovers and that kind of stuff. But it was real basic, and it worked. And just squats and extensions and leg curls, donkey calf raises. It was basic stuff, and it has changed a lot. However, I realize, and I'm sure you know as well, muscle just needs resistance. Mm-hmm. So you can go to machines, you can go to bands. I don't think bands are the best, but when I was on the road wrestling, I used to use bands in my hotel room just to get something going. But machines, as long as they give you resistance, you're going to get something out of them. Muscle doesn't know one from the other. Yeah. It just knows it's getting resistance.
That's a good point, because I tell people nowadays, you can make a 50-pound dumbbell feel like 100 pounds.
There's no question. You can make a 20 feel like a 50. It's just how you put into it. And you got to put everything into the rep, coming and going. And I think it makes a difference. And even at my age, I mean, that's what I do. And so I'm done in 20 minutes. Why are you done already? I said, I've done everything I need to do. I don't need to do anymore. Otherwise, I'm overtraining.
Yeah. Let me ask you one last question. Yeah. Most impressive physique that you've seen over the years, I mean, it might be a few, but if you were to go back and say, and it can be a bodybuilder, it can be a wrestler, it can be anything, but who would you say was like, when you first saw, you were like, wow, like this guy's body is just outrageous, like next level?
Well, number one would be Arnold. He did have one of the best bodies I've ever seen. And then I trained with superstar Billy Graham when he was at his biggest. He was just massive and muscular. He looked fantastic as a wrestler. But and Franco looked great. Other guys like Frank Zane looked great. But Arnold topped off everybody.
Why was Arnold so impressive?
Because he was tall and he carried it well. He just carried it well. He had that thick chest and thick arms and small waist, and it looked good.
What did he train in tank top and shorts when you were training at the gym?
Yeah, we all did shorts and bare feet.
No one wore hoodie sweatshirts like they do now and baggy pants.
Just a tank top. Sometimes no shirt. Didn't seem to matter. Yeah, it was easy. Joe didn't care. You wear whatever you want. You live at the beach. You come off the sand. You wear what you want. There's no rules.
See, so it's changed a lot in these days. But, Rick, thanks again for your time, man. I appreciate you coming out and supporting. We're trying to do a good thing with this YouTube channel now and try to feature a lot of the people. And you were a guy we talked about some time back, and I asked Dave, hey, please get a hold of Rick and see if we can get him on. And, this logo is going to stay. This is part of your legacy. We know World Gym is, I think, World Gym is world renowned also. But, I mean, the Gold's Gym, I mean, this is what it is. I mean, we see everyone wearing the shirts and everything. I
draw it on an 8x10 piece of paper, and I sell it for $75 to people that want to autograph to them. I've sold a bunch of them. One guy puts it on his wall, and he comes back, and he got the tattoo of the whole logo on his back. That's pretty dedicated.
Where was this now?
It's through my show. He ordered it, and he sends me a picture. Look, I had the logo tattooed to my back. Okay, that's very nice.
So make sure you guys, if you don't follow Rick's YouTube channel, make sure you guys check it out. And I look forward to being on the show. And I wish you the best of health, and I thank you for making the time to come down here. I know it was a huge effort to get here, especially after a couple mishaps. And, it's been a pleasure talking to you and getting that information for the first time.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. I wouldn't let you down.
All right, so for Jay Cutler TV and Mr. Rick here, thank you guys so much for following along. And make sure you guys, if you don't subscribe below. Thank you.